Do you want to fully listen? Not because it's a burden to fully listen, because it's the best thing that you could possibly do to fully listen, because you get the fullness of God. All right, what's next? The who me's. This is probably my favorite one, because this GIF is hilarious, and I feel like I've done that face to God a lot of times. It says they don't feel like they are the one for the call God's given them. Insecurity is normally the type. This is Moses. Like God comes to him, he actually did the whole here I am thing. This is the here I am. And then God's like, all right, great, here you are, you're listening. I want you to go back to Pharaoh. And immediately Moses is like, no, not me. Who am I that I could do that? And here Moses is asking God, trying to figure out who he is, that he could possibly do this. And God simply says, wait a second, it's not about who you are. I am who I am. And when Moses gets this revelation, it still didn't end there. Moses literally has this full-on conversation with God. God's like, drop your staff. It turns into a snake. Pick it back up. He's showing him miracles. Crazy things are happening. But it really all boiled down to one thing. Moses was there. He knew God was real. He knew God knew his name. He knew God could do miracles. But he could not get over the fact that he had a speech problem. It's like some of us in here, we're like, oh yeah, we believe in God wholeheartedly. Yes, we know he can do all these amazing things. When we worship, we feel his presence. When we feel called by him, all these things. But I'm only 17. Oh, I have a speech problem. Oh, I'm really not the best at that. Oh, I really don't really know what I would do if I was in that. And we start to list all the reasons why we're not capable of what God has equipped us to do. And so I'm just saying, I feel like I've done that so many times. God was calling me to speak, and I was like, God, I'm terrible on a microphone. Like, if somebody called me out in class to read, like the whole popcorn situation, that was like the worst day of the year for me. I hated that. I would get so nervous because I didn't like that kind of stuff. So this is very ironic, but I'm telling you, when God calls you to something, everybody says he equips you for it. I can attest he really does. The Bible talks about that, to pray for that he would equip you with what you need for those moments. And whenever Moses went back with God, see, that's the difference. He went back with God. He didn't just go back as Moses. He went back with the Father. So maybe it's that insecurity that you're holding on to. Press past it. What's the next thing? The I've got this. So pride is normally the downfall for this type. They think their plan is better than God's plan. And King Saul, I know I mentioned him before, but he really is the prime example for this. Because he literally was like, okay, yeah, I hear your plan, but then he disobeyed the plan because he felt like he had this amazing plan to keep all these awesome animals for themselves. And sometimes we do that. And we're like kind of following God's plan, but then we see a better situation for ourselves. And we're like, well, hold on, let me just take a little left turn real fast because that would be really appealing. That would be really nice. And we get off track what God is wanting us to do. And it says in the Bible, God wished he had never called him and found a new king. Because here's the important thing to understand. When God calls us to something, it's for his kingdom purpose. It's not for our platform. It's not for our financial blessing. It's for his kingdom purpose. And we don't always understand why he calls us to certain things. We won't always understand why he asks us to do certain things because most of the time it's not going to make worldly sense. But it's heaven's view. Like when God called Moses, Moses was probably like, why me? I have this speech problem. Why would you choose me? But here God sees that he's the one that Pharaoh would listen to because he lived in his house for years. You see, God has this plan and he can see it from a way bigger view than we can.